However, I will get comments online which will kind of be like, I don't understand why people think this guy's funny. And I understand that sentiment, but a lot of my show is like, if you're in the room, you will feel like you're a part of this community,
Yeah.
and like we're all in on the joke.
You know what?
keep it
I'm
smooth.
still new at this. You know, this is
okay.
like, you know, so I'm like,
It's very
you know,
it's very Charlie Rose.
thanks in a way. You know, I don't know whether to say thanks to that or not. Give it. You know,
No. Because obviously he got fired, right?
yeah, I think so. I think he
He resigned.
I think I actually don't know what the situation was, but he did something, and then
the setup
and then,
is nice.
You know, well, thanks, man. Thanks.
What do you do up here?
It's very
at this
den-like.
place?
So this is interesting. So this used to be this is the third floor of the Den, right? We have 5 theaters, 3 on the second floor, 2 are on the first, and you played in our biggest venue. And this used to be a performance space for like dance and like a lot of rehearsals on the third floor. But then after COVID, we didn't reopen it. We didn't need all the space. So we have our offices up here, and I took a lot of the stuff from our theaters and just, you know, this is the Den, right? So it's like Den aesthetic. So I just kind of combined all of our stuff in one room, from plays and sets and things that I like. And
next time I come to Chicago, I'm probably gonna do like a big theater, but it'd be cool to have like a secret show.
Oh my God!
In a place like this,
we could totally do it in here.
I'd be in the middle of the room, and
you see people around, and there's a little bit of a raise
that's
there.
what I mean. It'd be like a surrounded type thing, like Mike Falzone does with his show.
Hey man, if you want to do that, let's do it.
Cool little vibe. I like the circle downstairs. I'd like being able to kind of walk around. That's what me and my reps have been talking about having like a theater in the round type thing, because my shit is so interactive,
Mm-hmm.
So I think one of the things this weekend was important for me was like to test some of these new interactive songs that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Because as we move into theaters, I know it's like way harder to control a larger group of people.
I was going to ask about that, yeah.
And so I want to have more songs in place where we can have a bigger variety of interaction. Because before it was just the LOL song, I have the Would You Be My Dad song, but with the exception of some jokes and 1 or 2 songs, which honestly I didn't even do. I could have done like a whole other hour, which is, I keep thinking about it, so crazy. But
we were doing shows back to back too, so and then you were doing meet and greets afterwards. So you had that. You had to like. I saw a couple times, like even when you got to the, Would You Be My Dad bit. You were like, or the one before.
Yeah. I was
talking.
like, oh shit, I got time. I gotta move.
Yeah. But
yeah, this weekend was really good for me to just discover some things, tried some new jokes. Last night we did a brand new song. I don't know if you saw the show last night, but I did the Intrusive Thoughts bit.
Was it the last show?
It was the very last show.
Man, I saw every single show, all 4, and then the 5th, I didn't see the end of that one.
Yeah, 5th show we did a brand new song, and it just smashed. So
that's awesome.
I'm just hyped,
So a couple things. I want to ask a little bit more about the round thing that you guys are planning, because that makes a whole lot of sense to me with what you do. I mean, what I was actually thinking, like, how are because you're growing so fast, how is that going to translate to bigger theaters where how are you going to connect with everyone? But that makes sense if you've got more people wrapped around you. Are you talking on like every side?
Yeah, like just me in the middle of this circle right here. Yeah,
that way, like, you can still connect with a shit ton of people on every side, and then you've got the people that are up maybe in the balconies and even farther back. There's still, if you had a venue that was, I don't know what venue there is that.
There's one in, I believe, Arizona that does it like that. That's where I think Nate Bargatze filmed his special.
Okay.
I think. I don't know for sure, but I feel like that is.
Nice.
And Nate Jackson just did a show there too, I think. But we're gonna figure it out, or we'll do like a residency, and just figure out a way, like with that QR code thing, right?
Yeah.
That's a way for me to invite the whole audience, to, no matter where you sit, and them offer suggestions, and then I do it backstage.
Right,
You know?
right. That part of it, what is it called?
Dirty talking. We're talking dirty.
We're talking
Yeah.
dirty. Yeah, that was.
Yeah. When it hits, man, when they channel their inner Usher,
Yeah,
it hits so hard. They love it.
I love that one, and you know what I found interesting is like, what's your audience age?
They range from like 15 to 35.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I noticed
They're very young.
one of the things that was, I mean, so many things that were really cool about your unique style.
Yeah.
It was that there's a lot of younger people, but there were actually a few older people in the audience. I don't know if they were like parents of somebody, you know, but it's like, or even grandparents, but like there were a few older people, and I was watching the way they were enjoying themselves.
were they?
Oh, dude, like I think that.
Well, that's got to change. That's not supposed to be like that. It's not for old people. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
But I was gonna say, I mean, I don't know what your intentions are, but like, for me watching it felt so communal in a way, and permission was given for people in that moment with that specific bit. We're talking dirty. It's like everyone has permission to be a little naughty.
Yeah.
And even older people who are like out of their prime, but they've been there.
Yeah.
And to get them like, and people probably treat them now like they were never young, you know? They never had a past.
Oh,
Bullshit. They did everything.
They did some nasty shit.
They did some nasty shit.
They probably did some stuff.
So they're connecting back with that, and they were loving it, man.
Yeah.
And it's not like it never feels. I don't know how you do this, because what you do to me is masterful.
Oh.
because it's, think about how easy it would be to like make it feel grotesque, or like have people not participate if the energy's not right. Like you're getting people to participate, to like be vulnerable.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. I mean, I try to really to create a space where people have the freedom to be, you know, embarrass themselves and be goofy and not take themselves seriously, because at some point in their life they like changed, you know, it is like kindergarten for adults, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's and I could see the joy that they get when they do sing, and it fills me with joy, and that's what I say. Joy is a big part of the show, and I'm not saying like it's the edgiest and you know, political. I don't think it has to be that way, and I just think it's like this fun thing. I mean, anytime people sing together, it feels good. I don't know. It feels good.
It does feel good. You know,
and real quick.
Yeah.
I mean, look, man, I've been doing this 17 years. I had no intention of my show taking this direction. It never meant to go this way.
It didn't. Okay.
But then it just has turned that way, and people are upset if I don't go in the crowd. They're upset if they don't sing. People email my reps, my agents, and my managers, and they ask them, where can I sit to make sure that I'm in his TikTok, or make sure I sing. So
people are coming for that now too, to be a part of that. It's a sort of a separate thing, because there's such
I think it's just more of a shift of where entertainment's going, because even in these last 5 years with the pandemic, it's like audiences, especially my younger audiences, you know, the people that recently graduated from high school or college, you know, they graduated on a Zoom call, you know what I mean, through the pandemic.
Right.
They got attached to TikTok, which is like so they're kind of starved for a show or a live entertainment that's experiential.
Yeah.
And it's kind of not enough anymore to go watch a comedian talk for an hour. That's at least how I feel. I mean, I can't.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm in it. I'm a user as well. And they just want something more.
User, like it's an
I'm
addiction.
a user. No, well, I mean, it is. I mean, I'm a user as well. And,
I guess it is.
Yeah. And it's like, that's why my show, it changes so dramatically from minute to minute. And they feel like when they left, they were a part of something. And, because I mean, look, the average watch time of my comedy special was, the one I put out last year was about 20 minutes out of an hour, which I think is pretty solid, considering like the younger audience, they don't have the attention span for that anymore, you know? So I do something different from I think any other comic, is that I let them film the whole show. right? I don't know if you heard me say that, but I let them do
I
that.
definitely did. I was going to ask you about that for
Yeah,
sure.
I let them film it. I let them post it. I don't care because for them it's like they need to be somewhere where they can show that they were somewhere. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
The only reason, but my show you can do that, right? Like if I'm Dave Chappelle, I understand why you don't, or if I'm John Mulaney or Beth Stelling, I understand why you wouldn't want
You
to
got to
film the
protect
set.
the material,
'Cause-
right?
right,
'Cause
but
then it's less value with.
Yeah, but every show of mine, every songs are different. You could listen to a song over and over again, because I write crowd work and crowd interaction into every song. That every show is different anyway. So you can come see. I mean, I had a friend. He saw me perform 3 nights in a row, and he was like, I don't know. Every show is different.
It's different every time.
So
Yeah.
it's not like entirely different, but it is. There's like minute changes, and that's why I let people film it.
Well, you have the friend. It's like you're achieving on so many levels. It's like you're going at this with two different things at once. Like with the filming, it's like you're getting that film. People able to film. Sorry, I lost my point there.
Well, but well, let's say if they do film it, and then their friend sees it on their story, they're gonna be like, "Who did you see? Who was that?"
Right.
So then it just kind of exponentially builds until I do a 1,000-seat theater. I let everybody film. If 100 people post from that show, then, and 10 to 20 people see that story, it keeps 10xing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So it's just like building your value in a different way,
Yeah.
right? Than like holding back your what you've created and putting it out on a Netflix special or whatever when the time is right,
Yeah.
or selling it to Netflix. However.
I mean, I think if I do a special for any of the streamers now, if that opportunity happens, I think the only real way to do it is to do it live. That's how I would do it, at least. And also have it be done in a way where the audience who's at home can interact as well. So they could offer suggestions and things like that. So even for that dirty talking song, I could take suggestions from the people at home typing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I stream occasionally on Twitch, which is like a video game,
Right.
but they do music, and I've learned a lot about how to interact with people that way as well. I mean, that's where that first LOL ha 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 song came from. It was from doing Zoom shows and doing things online, because it's like,
Was it kind of organic, or did you?
well, it was
write
like, I learned a long time ago, it's like everything is context, right? So, when you do a show for 10 people or 100 people or 1,000 people, your performance has to change a little bit. You wouldn't do a show for 1,000 people the way you would do it for a room like this, right?
Sure.
So when you're performing for a camera where there's 10, 20, or 1,000 people typing, you have to give them a way to interact as well. Like you kind of have to teach them the rules. Like, so I would be like, hey guys, if you like something, give me an LOL. If you like, or a ha ha ha, or LMFAO, or and I would do that. And then we translated it to a live show, and I don't know, it turned out to be like my most, I guess, viral or well-known bit, which is weird because it's like you never think. I just never think the next song is gonna. I don't know how I'm gonna pull another rabbit out of my hat. You know what I mean?
But it seems
So.
like one of the reasons you're able to produce these kinds of things is because you seem to be at least like open to just like allowing things to happen, like
Yeah.
something like that, right? I mean, it's like it was born out of the necessity of people
Yeah.
typing that, but then you were able to use, your creativity to think, oh, I can take this and now you're using your other skills, your musical skills and your
Yeah.
comedy.
I would say, anybody who's afraid of working within a limitation, I think that's actually the wrong way to think of it. It's like, see what you can accomplish within these four walls,
Yeah.
of whatever limitations they give you, because it's only going to make you stronger as an artist, because then you can kind of perform in all these different boxes,
Right.
Until you have your own show, and then you can kind of do whatever the fuck you want. And, I mean,
Yeah.
and then you you just create something unique and different. I don't want to generalize it too much, but during the
Right.
pandemic, there was a lot of comedy peers who refused to perform on Zoom or post their clips online, and they were afraid of this and that, and I don't know, they missed I think
An
the thing,
opportunity,
it's
maybe.
like, I don't even know if it was an opportunity, but you missed this chance to explore a different part of your creativity, and I don't know at what point this happened, but stand-up comedy kind of like turned to this kind of dogmatic, like, it has to be done this way. The joke should be this way. It should be. I mean, I think like in the late '80s and early '90s, all these comedy shows like Live at the Improv or Premium Blend, even I think they had different variety acts. They had the Jeff Dunhams, they had the Gallaghers, they had the musical comics, they had magicians, they had every type of act doing comedy. But then I don't know at what point like stand-up comedians like bullied all of these variety acts out. So now every show you see is just like a showcase of comedians telling the same jokes about, hey, I'm X, Y, and Z. This is my experience of what it's like to be X, Y, and Z. And if you sit through an hour-long showcase of that, and you walk away from it, I wouldn't be able to tell you who told what joke at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to throw shade, but that's kind of like, I've been on those showcases. I used to feel insecure as the guy with the guitar, and
For
now
a long time. I
for
mean,
a long-
16, 17 years.
yeah, because the
right?
first
Before-
6 years I did stand up, and it was my stand up was okay. It wasn't like anything to write home about. I certainly wouldn't have bought a ticket to see the stand up I was doing when I look back at it, which is good. You don't want to, if you're not embarrassed by the work you're doing 3 months to a year prior, then that means you're not kind of growing as an artist or evolving. But so then I switched to the guitar, and I used to be really insecure about bringing the guitar because I knew how people kind of saw it. They were like, oh, this person can't write a joke, or they can't do stand up, or this is going to be terrible. And sometimes it is terrible, but when it's good, then they're all on the bandwagon, right? Nobody's going to shit on Adam Sandler because he's a legend, or Reggie Watts, or Garfunkel and Oates, or how many other. Let's see, the Wolves of Glendale are great. I mean, there's Flight of the Conchords or something like that, right? Because once it's done well, then it's great, But when
Right.
it's not done
People
well,
accept it collectively.
yeah.
And then,
But when it's done poorly or in a very hackneyed way, people are like, oh, this is the worst thing to ever happen to comedy. And like I said, I would take that kind of into a comedy show experience, and then I kind of realized I forget which show I was on. I was on a lineup. Actually, I'll tell you where it was. Actually, it was last year. I finally had gotten New Faces, like 16 years into doing comedy. I got JFL New Faces, and it was like, it's two showcases. It's I think 10 or 12 comics on each showcase, but every set was like, this is my identity. Here's your jokes about my identity. These are jokes about my identity. This is who I am. This is what it's like to be this. And after a while, just like watching every set, I just was like, all right. I was like, oh, thank goodness there's a guitar guy on this set. So the show feels like different,
right.
This isn't to throw shade. I'm just saying like variety is good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're opening people's eyes to
Yeah.
different kind of, a live entertainment experience.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I also just find it endlessly fascinating. We don't need to talk about it anymore, but that, how you are able to make that community thing happen that's like ingrained deeply in human beings. We need that.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you're at like the forefront of the social media.
Yeah.
You're blending, you're able to achieve both of those things. So like simultaneously, they're
Yeah.
feeling community when they see you in your show. They're feeling connected as an audience. They're like, we did this together. They feel
Yeah.
good about themselves. They're having a good time. They're laughing. And at the same time, they're like feeding their social media platforms because they're like, I'm putting this right now, or maybe I'll be on TikTok or Instagram.
And I mean, now they know the song. They know the songs. And if they show up and I don't do the songs, it's like they didn't get what they wanted. You know what I mean? It's like they want to see what they saw on TikTok.
Yeah.
So in one respect, like I am kind of digging myself into a hole where like I have to do all the things that I've done on TikTok. But I do have an hour.
Do you ever feel pressure with that to create new things?
I mean,
When
well,
you
no,
feel
the
that?
pressure comes with like when I do an hour, like I don't want to do things that I want to do on stage, right? But I have to also give the audience a little bit of what they wanted as well. So kind of have to have an agreement. I mean, like if you went to see James Taylor, I saw James Taylor like 2 weeks ago at the Hollywood Bowl. It was like, he's like 76. It was 17,000 people. But if James Taylor didn't play Fire and Rain or You've Got a Friend or what's another one he did that was awesome? Shower the People You Love. Like, if he didn't play
You'd
those
be
things,
disappointed.
the audience would be
Yeah.
pissed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's what they're going to see. And they're going to see that because they all had the same collective experience listening to the album. So they're going there together to sing it together. And that's the whole beauty of it, right? It's like
Yeah.
we're kind of all in. I don't know. It's been an organic kind of process of creating this community. I didn't think it would get to the point, even more so than like somebody like Matt Rife, who I respect. His crowd work is actually second to none. But I don't know if there are like moments on the internet that people have seen that they'll go to the show. Like, you can't go to the show and like ask him to do like repeat a crowd work. But because I've baked my crowd work into a structure, into a song, they know like we're going to get the song, but we're also going to get something
Organic
with it, you know? So I'm pretty proud of that. I feel it's exciting for me, you know?
And it doesn't stop you from like creating new of these song bits.
No,
right?
and not at all. It's like, it almost pushes me harder. Like, how can we involve the crowd even more? Like, I think the next step is to have a song with like a really good hook, but have the audience member sing the hook.
Yeah.
You know, maybe but somehow they can do it but each time it comes back to them,
Yeah.
it's like funny. I don't know. It's like always thinking about how to do that, how to make them a part of it.
You're good at that naturally. Remember that guy in like the second or third show that did not want
Oh,
to sing? He was like, and you were
he
like,
really
do you have
didn't want-
social anxiety or something? I think you
Yeah,
asked him
it's
that.
exposure therapy. Do you have social anxiety?
And he was like, yeah.
I was like, well, look, man, you just got to do it, and I'll leave. That's why I didn't push it. He just went LOL. But
Yeah.
like, that's the kind of thing. Like, I don't know. Maybe he hated it,
No,
but I don't think he did.
No,
I think he'll go home and he'll be like,
felt jazzed, man.
yeah, I think he'll go. Like, that shit makes me emotional. I think he'll
Yeah.
go home, and he'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe I was able to do it. You know what I
He
mean?
was there I think he was there by
A lot of people come to my show by
I
themselves.
think he was by himself.
Yeah, I get a lot of
and he
solo
was just
people.
chilling. He was having a good time, having a drink, but he didn't want to. I mean, you came up and you were like, hey man, you were like, you don't,
Yeah.
you don't. He was like, no big deal. He's like, all you have to do is say these words if you want to,
Yeah.
And you.
But you
kinda
see how
like-
the crowd gets excited, man.
Yeah, they do. They're like, oh, please do it, please do it. And he's like, oh no. He's like,
Because they're seeing somebody. They're seeing somebody like break a barrier.
Yeah, but you know what I think? Like,
You know?
I think the reason he ultimately agreed, he was like, all right, like because he could
There were
see
300
that
people
you weren't.
staring at
Well,
him.
no, but no, I think he saw that you weren't going to force him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You were going to walk away, and I think you would have.
I would if he was like,
Yeah.
I really won't, because I have walked away.
Yeah.
I have walked
I think
away.
I saw you in one of the shows where you're just like, all right, and you.
Yeah, you don't see
you know,
my. Yeah.
but you make it so it's again that's where the craft comes in
Yeah.
because your job then is it like to then even though that's a no in that moment or
Yeah.
you're not going to make something you wanted to work but then you got to like bring the crowd back into like hey we're going to flow into this
Yeah, you know.
and
I mean, it's just accepting what's going on in the space,
Yeah.
like in real time, and I think not denying like just really not denying the truth of something. Like like there was a girl that fell over during one of the shows. She was drunk. I'm not gonna
yeah.
pretend like that did not happen
right
and go on with the show.
right
You know,
totally.
we're all here together. It'd be one thing if there was like 3,000 people in the venue, then it's a little bit harder because I can't really see. I mean,
Right.
I'm doing my biggest venue next month ever, and it's 1,550 seats. We've sold it out twice, and so, I mean, I am curious to see how it goes.
When is that
That's in Australia, overseas, no less. So,
congratulations
thank
man
you.
that's pretty awesome
yeah, I mean, like you're going back to the social media thing. It's kind of, I mean, we like skipped a couple steps. You know, there's like, I was telling my manager, I was like, hey, I'm gonna go to New York for a couple weeks, and I want to get passed at this club. And he was like, why do you want to do that? I was like, I don't know, I've always wanted to. It's like a really famous club. He's like, you know, I would even go on a limb and say, Morgan, that there's people at the club who'd like to be selling a theater out like you are.
right
And I was like, yeah, I guess so, but I don't know. It's just like one of those little check marks as a
right.
comedian. You know how there's like those rite of passages,
Yeah.
you know.
So are you
But
doing it?
I'll do it. I'll get there eventually. I
Yeah.
mean, I have all the recommendations. I just got to do the audition. I know I'll pass the audition, but it's interesting the way you see your career going, and then
Are those kinds of things important to you?
Well, I mean,
hit-
the respect of your peers, of course, for me
Yeah.
is really important, and it's something that I deeply wanted for a long time.
yeah.
There's definitely like a cool kids club of comedians, people who I think are absolutely hilarious that don't follow me on social media or probably
Yeah.
don't think I'm funny in the way they're funny or don't, because I never was really like a comics comic at any point in stage of my career.
Right.
I was doing act outs. I was like positive. Wasn't cynical really on stage. I was, you know,
Yeah.
and so I never, and especially in New York, that kind of comedy behavior was never like, I don't feel like it was rewarded, in my opinion. You want to do something that was edgy and borderline offensive or something like that, and
Right. When you
that was
engage
kinda
with the
never me.
audience a lot, but you don't ever. I don't. There's. I mean, I would love to see. Are there ever any moments where you felt like you've had to like put someone in their place, or because comedians
Never.
are good at that's part of what people actually are.
Never,
You know,
and I'm
in
in
a
a
joking way.
Yeah, and I'm not in a and I'm in a place where, because let's say if I do a weekend, for example, here at the Den, we sold it out in advance, so we know everybody who came to the show was for the most part a fan of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Where I think some comics will do a weekend at a club here and there that they're gonna get a lot of riffraff, like people who are like, I just bought a ticket for me and my wife or me and my girlfriend or partner to see who's ever performing.
Right.
So there's a good chance they might not like the person they see.
Right.
Where for me, everybody's excited to see the show because they know who they're seeing.
Or the majority, right?
The majority.
And the majority kind of out.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of people coming out of the show really like, I hated this.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I mean,
And I do get, however, I will get comments online which will kind of be like, I don't understand why people think this guy's funny. And I understand that sentiment, but a lot of my show is like, if you're in the room, you will feel like you're a part of this community,
Yeah.
and like we're all in on the joke
Right.
or the experience, you know?
Absolutely.
So what my goal is with the social media post is to do my best to capture that experience on camera, which is why when you see it online, a lot of times it's shaky, it's in the crowd, it's dark.
You have a friend. I mean, who's
You have
like,
a friend who's running around, so you're in the audience and you're feeling like you're there,
Yeah.
and you see the reaction. It's kind of like when you watch a prank video on YouTube. You don't really care who's doing the prank. You're watching to see the reaction,
Right.
And that's what people are seeing on the clips.
Right. It
you
feels
know?
very raw and real.
Yeah.
But that's another area where I find kind of cool and crazy. Like most audiences are, and maybe this is just your fans. They know what they're getting.
Yeah.
But like, you've managed to like normalize the feeling of like a camera in some like right there in your
Yeah.
face as an audience member, right? Like people know, like you'll jump off stage and you engage someone and it's like suddenly up pops, and you guys.
I don't even think that I've normalized it. I think I'm just taking something that is normal now,
Yeah.
with people taking out their phone
Yeah.
and just like embracing that rather than trying to fight that.
Right. Embracing it, right? And
Because it's just the way it kind of is now. It's like when people whip their camera out, one of two things are happening: you're getting your ass beat, and you're gonna end up on World Star, or you're doing something like hella dope. It's like one of two things,
Yeah.
So I don't know. So it's funny. I was like, how many years ago was it? I was 2016 or 2017. I noticed people started taking their cameras out to film me while I was singing songs about eating ass and brains and titties, this and whatever. I don't know. I was just singing songs and stuff, and that's when I knew. Because that's about 7 years ago. That's when I knew I was like onto something, when people voluntarily just started filming
7 years
it.
ago. So it was like 17, something around
yeah.
2017.
Yeah,
Because
just around
that's,
then.
I mean,
And I didn't, and my stuff was all right, but it wasn't where it's at now.
yeah.
So.
I mean, I think who would have guessed like that? I mean, I think the pandemic sped all that up, right? But like social media now and the way that we consume our entertainment and the way that like the next generations will is, I mean, things are changing so fast. Where do you think, do you think it's going to stay like this for a while? Do you think it's going to keep changing at this rate? Like, what's the next thing that?
Well, I mean, I think live streaming is the future of entertainment. I mean, I'm a huge fan of this streamer. His name is Kai Cenat. He's like probably one of the biggest. Do you know who Kai Cenat is? I mean, I think that dude is really changing entertainment in a way that is really exciting. It's like very rough and ready. I mean, to give you, I mean, Kevin Hart just showed up on his stream. This is a guy who's a gamer.
Oh, wow.
This guy plays video games.
Okay.
And Kevin Hart showed up, hung out with him for 3-4 hours on his stream. From a marketing standpoint, for Kevin Hart, it's one of the smartest things he could have ever done, because literally the next day, Kevin Hart and Kai Cenat were every other fucking clip that I saw.
Yeah.
And it was like people were putting them in memes. Because the thing with live streaming is that you stream for, between 2 to, could be 10 hours.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing video games, you're hanging out, whatever it is, reacting to videos.
Mm-hmm.
And then that gets clipped up and put on, it gets chopped. I mean, it's not like, the thing is like, people are not going to watch something for 10 hours straight, but they will watch the highlights. And the thing is, if you have 5 to 100,000 people watching the highlights, or watching that throughout the 10 hours, you'll get all the clips you need from it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they do, the thing about Twitch, which is so great, is that your audience clips it. So if I do something crazy online, I don't even got to do anything. They clip it and they put it on the internet without my consent, but it's at that point it doesn't matter, because it just kind of feeds this machine. Like if it goes viral, they'll come back to my.
But so for you, just from a business perspective, is that like?
That's where I'm gonna try to slowly transition, because I don't think I'm gonna be able to tour forever, and I think
To Twitch specifically, or to
just
Twitch
live.
just like live.
It's live streaming,
shows,
it's like gaming. It's I could play music on there. I can do interviews. I can do anything on there. I could live stream to Twitch my comedy special, like the live recording of it. The same way they do. Cat Williams did it, or Chris Rock did it, or they did John Mulaney live. During the Netflix festival.
Right.
The thing is, I've built my own fan base, so now I can just do it myself. I'm not gonna. It's not gonna be on that scale that they have it, but if you make it an event, we're all watching it together. I think Conan O'Brien said, like, when you do a set on The Tonight Show or late night, you're not, there's 300 people in the studio audience, but there's 1 million people in the camera. And that's kind of what the live stream is. It's like, you could do it live, but you have this.
Where do you make money directly off of that?
So you make money off of ad revenue, subscriptions. People can give donations. So there's a lot of ways you can make money off of it. You could do rewards. I mean, like, I'm really shocked, and feel free to steal this, that like a comedy club hasn't done like the live streamed open mic or comedy show. Unless somebody does it, I'm shocked that I understand why some comics wouldn't want to do it.
I think open mics would work, but like to get.
But then again, I mean, Kill
agents
Tony does
and
it.
managers involved, and like it would probably be challenging.
Well, Kill Tony live streams their
Yeah.
show every week.
Okay.
And it's like up and coming comics. They do it live every week, and it
Yeah.
gets thousands of views. But there could, I think younger comics coming up, I don't think they would be against it personally, because it's kind of ingrained in their culture now. You could turn it into like a game show type thing. People could vote if they like the person or not.
Yeah.
They could vote if they like you. This is how you can make money off of something like that. If somebody's on stage at an open mic and they're doing well, people can send money to allow them to have another minute. Like so it's like so it's like, guys, if you want him to be on for another minute, like you'll get the light when the audience does not fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's kind of like an idea. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you'll keep going until the crowd's like, and that's kind of,
Yeah, and that I think that's
and what you could do is tell the people typing in, like, hey, in the chat, like, just know half of whatever you donate or whatever you pay to keep this guy going, he'll get that money. You know what I'm saying?
right.
And then it incentivizes everybody to also do better and bring their fucking A game, and not do an open mic in front of a ton of other comics trying to make the dudes in the back of the room laugh. They're gonna have to make some person in somewhere else laugh.
Right.
I'm fucking too smart at this shit. God damn it, Rob.
So where do you think? Do you think theaters in 10 years are? Do you think there's still going to be a market for live live venues.
Yeah, I think live. I also think live performance is going to be bigger than ever in the next 10 years. I think just
So
because
there's room for everything, right?
there's room for everything, but I think live stream, with first of all, like, I mean, look, with inflation, people got no money, people got no work. I mean, I get DMs all the time, and I'm somebody who I like to think I keep my tickets pretty cheap, on the cheap side. They still don't have money to come to the show. So if you could live stream a show for $5, because like on Twitch they have something called like subscriber only streams. So I could be like, hey, if you can't make it to the show for $5, we'll stream the whole show, and you can be there live. So
Yeah,
that's how I see it.
a lot of different ways.
The other
to
thing
do
I
it.
should say, when something goes viral, like 90% of the views are from new people. So, that's why it's like okay to keep posting things over and over again.
Right. Like posting the same clips that you'll get from a show or anything.
Well, like I do that LOL bit. Can I get a LOL or a ha ha ha? I've been doing that for a year now. I've been posting clips from that song for over a year, and I'm still getting new followers and new viral moments because of that song. I suspect the same thing is going to happen with the Would You Be My Dad? The same thing is going to happen with the dirty talk. If I can clip everybody saying the dirty thing. And then, and then people are going to come to the show to do that as well. They want to.
Yeah.
I had a song called Bro where I call a guy on stage and I almost kiss the guy. There will be a time when people are going to. I knew there was going to. I knew in my head I was like, there's going to be a time when people want to be called on. Because when I first started, people were like, "Don't call me, don't call me."
I felt like that this weekend. I felt like people were ready
They
to
were
be
They
called
were so
on.
ready.
And they were like, and the difference too is like you can see like, oh, these people are ordering shots more than usual for this kind of thing.
'Cause
Because
they're
they're
getting
like getting
nervous, they're
themselves,
getting
they're
a
getting
lick of
themselves
courage.
ready. Like,
Yeah.
But no, there were definitely people that you could clearly see were like they'd look at each other and they'd be like, should we, and then
Yeah.
they were getting ready.
Yeah,
The-
man, it's exciting. I love it. I mean, yeah, I love it. I'm so
It
happy
must
with
have
the way
been
it turned.
a
I
pretty
like the show
cool-
now.
Pretty cool ride.
Yeah,
The
it's
last
been.
year, right?
I mean, now I say this in every fucking podcast, but it's like, be the first person to buy a ticket to the show. If you're the performer, like you got to buy a ticket to your show, and I truly would buy a ticket to my show. You know what I mean? And that's not on some arrogant type shit. That's more like, I created something I'm really proud of. I feel like I would enjoy the show if I watched it. I feel like I created a product that's worth paying for. And
Do you think that comes from like age and experience a little bit? Like because I think most people in the beginning they're trying to fit into what they think you have to be like. Like if you're an actor or whatever, you're trying to audition in the way that all your acting teachers tell you to, or whatever. Like is it?
Yeah, it comes with age. Because I mean, I was doing the first 6 years of stand up. I feel like I was just doing like a lousy Dane Cook impression, of like doing
so
act outs.
like
and-
what you thought a comedian should be like, and
Yeah.
now is it what you're saying like that you need to like your own show? Is it because
You got to
been
do it.
able
You got to do it the rest of your life.
yeah.
I mean, so it's like whatever character you choose to inhabit. Like Larry the Cable Guy, he's not that person, but that character was so popular that he had to do every show like that for the rest of his career. And I have to imagine
But
that.
do you? I mean, could you not like at least feasibly go, all right, yeah, you got to bring that until you get
You could-
creative, and it ups the difficulty level.
mean-
bring something a little bit better, and then you can still weave it in. I mean,
From my experience, whenever I try to go outside the box of what people know me for on social media, there is a lot of pushback and they tend not to fuck with it. So the thing that makes you popular, it's hard to get away from that and to transition into something else and reinvent
but what if
yourself.
you brought something like the LOL song,
Mm-hmm.
right? You have to do it. People are right now. But let's say like, we're getting dirty or Will You Be My Dad starts to reach that same level or even more. Like
Mm.
you keep your creativity going and doing the things that you love to do.
Yeah.
You're gonna keep pushing that threshold. You're gonna get something where you still have to do the LOL for a while, but eventually these other ones they're gonna be coming for those too, and then
Yeah.
you reach a point where you just you can choose to drop that.
Well, no, I mean, I'll tell
Idealistically,
you.
that would
Look, I
be
posted a clip of me doing stand up last week on. I mean, some of the comments were like, "Stick to music." It was like, that's okay. I understand that, but I mean, I don't care. Like, if you see my live show, it's very dynamic now.
yeah.
And I feel like you're going to get more than what you paid for. I mean, I have people come up to me and tell me it was better than they thought it was going to be
Yeah.
because they thought they were only going to get. I just can't imagine somebody coming to see a show of a thing they saw go viral and expect that person to do that for an hour straight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no way that can be sustainable.
Yeah.
So, luckily, I have 16 plus years of performance where I can weave
Right.
in so many different types of entertainment.
Right.
I mean, to go back to creating a show that's experiential. I mean, another act that you should take note of is, I mean, maybe he's already been here, is Martin Amini. I don't know if you know Martin
No,
Amini.
he hasn't been here yet.
But you should have Martin Amini. Martin Amini has essentially turned his live stand-up show into a literal dating show. And he's doing the same thing. He does the show, he films it all, he funnels it back into his YouTube, he puts the clips out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's I feel like he's somebody also to take note of. It's like he's also changing the way stand-up is perceived in that kind of space, you know? So we got to collab on something because we're in similar lanes, but not quite,
Do you know him? Have you ever met
Oh,
him?
yeah. Martin's a cool dude. He actually owns a small club in DC called Room 808, and it's great. I would definitely reach out to him and hit him up and look at some of his clips,
Yeah.
He's getting people to make out on stage because, I mean, I try to get people to kiss too. I tried to get somebody to kiss last night, I think, in the first show. But
Yeah, I saw that. They
Yeah.
didn't end up, right?
she just gave her a
Yeah,
kiss on the cheek.
yeah. That's right.
But it's gonna get experiential. I mean, like, the old heads of comedy, while they are incredible and talented, I mean, you really have to be a fan of comedy. I mean, I'm honestly one of my favorite comics is Rory Scovel. I don't know if you're familiar with
Yeah.
Rory, but Rory is absolutely. I saw him improvise a full hour of comedy last week. It was great. It was so fun to watch. But that's another thing. That's like also experiential because you're there and you're seeing something happen that will never be replicated.
Right.
Right? When you go to my show, you'll always see something that can never be replicated. Even if I do the same song, all the crowd interaction in between is unique to that show.
Right.
So for the audience, it feels like it's the first time,
Yeah.
And that's what people want. They want to feel like they were a part of something that cannot be replicated.
I agree. It makes things excite me. It's why, people have always
What'd be crazy is if I could have a piece of merch that I could sell the day of the show that would be like if something really funny happened at the top of the show, somehow I can print like 50 t-shirts and they'll be like, this moment happened at this show, so you could buy a t-shirt from this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll get there.
Well, can I take you back a little bit? I'm just curious, especially with the "Will You Be My Dad" bit.
Yeah.
Like, if it's all right to talk about just
My dad, sure.
yeah, or a little bit about like also
Yeah.
just your upbringing. Like,
Yeah.
what about your childhood led you? Do you think influenced your comedy at all? And like, yeah, what your dad? Like, how did that affect
Well, I'm
you?
the youngest, so I'm obviously the youngest is
Two
tends
brothers.
to be two brothers. The youngest tends to be the person who breaks the tension in the rooms, the goofball, and my dad died when I was 6 of cancer. So we were kind of left to our own device. My mom had to start working a couple jobs.
You guys were in New Jersey.
Jersey,
At that point.
yeah.
Okay.
She's an immigrant working at a restaurant, working as a caretaker, working as cleaning houses.
Yeah.
So me and my brothers were kind of left to our own devices at home, kind of taking care of each other ourselves. And not to say that my mother didn't take care of us, because, I mean, like, I was doing laundry at like 9 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
we knew how to, like, she taught us how to take
But
care
she
of
was
ourselves.
working a lot, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you get home from school and she might be at her
Yeah.
job.
What's funny? I went to like 3 or 4 years of therapy, and I really do believe like therapists really try to get you to like resent your parents or some shit like that. And I will not ever like, say,
Well, how can you move past things if you just blame or
You
right?
can't,
You need
dude.
to take ownership of where you're at.
1,000%.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, my mom worked a shit ton so she could provide us with an amazing life, and so like I would never falter for that. But we were home. I was a goofball. I was a class clown. My dad was a singer in Argentina. I was playing music from a very early age. I played piano for about 10 years. Picked up the guitar at about 16 years old. I don't really play piano anymore.
Was that because of your dad? Do you think your dad's
No, my
influence,
parents
right?
were just like, you're gonna play music.
Okay. So did you start before he passed away? Did you
Yeah,
start music before?
yeah. I
Okay.
was very like early on. I was like 4 or 5. They were trying to get me to play piano, and then I just couldn't. It just wouldn't take. He passed away, got me back into piano lessons again around 7 or 8, somewhere around there, and then I really truly detested. I hated practicing, and I was doing classical piano. Classical piano is like, it's just like rote repetition over and over again, left hand, right hand, left hand, right hand. If I could go back and do it again, I wished I would have learned jazz piano, which allows you to improvise and play whatever you want, like learning all the scales, learning all the things frontwards and backwards, you know. I think a jazz piano player a jazz piano player can play. Actually, I don't. Who am I to talk about this? But because I don't do it anymore. But I would imagine a jazz pianist has a better facility than to go to classical piano than the other way around. At least in my upbringing, you know. But yeah, I was in choir. I was singing. I was in drama club. I was doing all that outgoing. I was in what is it? School.
Plays and
Student government,
student government too.
all that sort of
wow.
stuff, you know.
Well, you then went to NYU, right?
So I went there
Which-
for theater.
My wife went to NYU.
Oh, really?
actually. Yeah.
Oh, incredible. Yeah. I mean, I loved NYU. I went there for theater. You know, I started doing stand-up about regularly sophomore year. Was it sophomore year? I don't know, but I did start in college and, you know, going out at night, going to open mics, and I felt like a little superhero at night, you know, going to these comedy clubs, and then I don't know. It's just I just really I love stand up from an early age. I mean, I was watching all the stuff I was watching Premium Blend mostly, and all those showcases. And when I was at NYU, I'd always go to the Olive Tree Cafe, which is right above the Comedy Cellar.
Yeah.
That's the club I was talking about.
Oh, is that?
I really want to get past there, and which I'm certain will happen because a lot of my peers are there now, and you know, I sell way more tickets than them, so I don't see why not.
Oh, it'll be awesome. going there. You know, I'm such a nerd. I'd never been there, and I own a venue.
Oh,
you
man,
know?
dude,
No,
it's-
I have now, but I haven't seen a show there. I went. My family and I just went to eat at is it Olive Tree?
Yeah, Olive Tree. It's right above.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the Olive Tree. We were eating there, and I was like, I got to go to the bathroom. And
You gotta
they
go
were like,
downstairs,
go
too.
downstairs, and they
I
had
mean-
me walk across the comedy. I'm like, where
Yeah.
am I in?
Well, that was the first comedy club I ever went to because I grew up in Jersey, so New York was about an hour away. So we went, like my parents took me. I remember we went. I feel like we went to a comedy show.
Yeah.
Like before I was like of age to go to a show like that, you know. In that respect, my parents were really cool. Like they didn't really, my mom didn't shy away from letting me see certain things, you know. But yeah, that club was just so iconic, you know. How many does it seat?
It's got to be small. I mean, the room was
Small,
small.
dude.
I can't wait to go back. I mean,
I feel like it's the size of this little area. It's like not even this big.
no, it's
Like
tiny.
those two
It's
little
like,
platforms, dude. They really pack the people in there.
yeah, I wonder. It must be.
And what I
100?
loved about that shit was like, I'm performing and the first row is like here. I'm here and like they're here. Loved it, dude. I fucking loved it.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
that's
great.
why the theater shows do scare me a little bit because the audience is so far away and I don't. But I'll adjust and I'll learn how
adjust,
to
yeah.
do that as well.
It'll take getting some used to because yeah, you're in Australia is going to be the biggest one, right?
Yeah, so all the shows in Australia and New Zealand, they're all theaters. I think the smallest theater is like 600. The biggest one is about 1,600. And then the next biggest theater I'll do after that will be next year in LA at the Wiltern, which is about 1,700. I'm doing the Wilbur Theater in Boston.
That's a great theater.
I never thought I would sell that out, but we sold it out once, and we're gonna do a second show.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, I guess it makes sense because the shows are on a Friday and Saturday, right? Mm-hmm. So that venue's 1,060 or 70. I mean, you know, it's like 2 rooms. Your venue's 302.
Yeah.
So, if you know,
It's like 6 show. It's like 6 shows here.
Yeah.
You know, roughly. But
So I'm
6 to
doing 2
7
Wilburs.
shows, yeah. You could have easily, if we would have added a show, it
I
definitely would have sold.
told
You
him, I
could-
said, we should add Sunday. I feel bad. We'll add a Sunday show, but
we could have done
done
6
Sundays.
or I think even maybe 7.
well, that's what we're learning. I mean, we're learning what my numbers are. I mean, my reps and I really want to continue this narrative of the guy that I sell out shows. I mean, I'd hate to do a venue where it doesn't sell
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
I mean,
You got to push the boundary to see where it is.
you got to see where it is.
right?
I ran into a comic in Oklahoma City. He was really, I knew him. I mean, I know him from doing comedy. We were doing open mics together in New York. Huge comic now. And he was doing a theater in Oklahoma City. And it was a 2,200 seat theater. And I was like, how's it going? He's like, well, we only sold half of it out. I go, oh. He's like, yeah. But like, I don't want to be in a position like that. Even though half of 2,200 is 1,100,
Yeah.
that's a shit ton of tickets.
Yeah,
You know what I
and it's
mean?
still a
It's,
shit
so
ton
it's
of
like,
tickets, yeah.
so, I mean, it's all relative. It's like, you don't want to, I mean, I have a friend texting me. He's like, bro, there's a venue opening up in Oceanside, California. It's 2,000 seats. You can do it. And it's like, maybe, but I don't want to, because first of all, I don't feel ready to do that big of a venue. And I just,
I think it's good. I think it's probably good to be cautious. I think
Yeah,
the energy that
because and also
generate.
if you sell half of it out and all those people come to the show, it's kind of sad. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, he's not as popular as we thought he was.
Yeah.
Rather than if you come to a sold out show, you're like, whoa,
Also, like live entertainment is so dependent on the energy in the room,
full
right?
room,
Like
dude.
like things can pop for you creativity wise if you're feeling that and connecting on that energy level. And if you have half of the theater empty, it's going to be a lot harder. It's not like you can't do it, but you know, it's definitely a thing that as a venue I recognize, you know, and you know, I'm always thinking about like,
we had a lot of no shows.
yeah, well. So this is what I was thinking about. Like, a good indicator of how many tickets you can sell, I do think, is how many months in advance you sell out too. Because if you can sell if you're selling out 6
So
months
like
in
my
advance,
show at the Wilbur is December 13th, and we sold it out already, and we sold it out like a month ago.
So that's like 7 months, 6.5 months in
Yeah.
advance or something. I mean, that's a huge indicator that you're gonna, because a lot of times you only need like, I don't know, safely. I don't know how long had those been on sale? Like how long?
We put the tickets on sale. I want to say in April.
and then they sold out in like a month or a month and a
By-
half.
Yeah, by June maybe. Yeah, by around June. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's also a good thing to watch is like the speed. If that speed starts picking up too,
Yeah.
you know, like if you sell out in one day, I mean, we had, you know, I think Tom Segura here, you know, and he was like, he sold out in one day, you know, same with John
Yeah, I mean,
Mulaney,
in San Diego, I'm doing a small, like periphery club in northern San Diego. It's like 130 seats to keep polishing my stuff, you know. And my buddy who runs the club was like, "How much do you want to sell the tickets for?" I was like, "Let's just do $20." He's like, "I don't know, man. This is a different part of town. Why don't we do 15? Because it's like off the beaten path. It's not San Diego proper. It's about 30 miles north of San Diego." And I go, "I don't know, man. I feel like I put my tickets on sale. They sell."
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "I don't know. There was these other comics who said that their social media was doing really well." And I was like, "I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure like it's gonna sell out like pretty soon." So he goes, all right, we'll make it 20. We'll make it 20. 20, I think. And then so we list the shows. He calls me like an hour later. He
It's
goes,
like it's sold out.
he goes, bro, what the fuck? What? Dude, I've never seen my emails like this. It's like every ticket's sold. He said, so eventually it's 4 shows. It was about 540 tickets. Mm-hmm. And we sold it out in 4 hours, you know.
Yeah.
And
That's great.
he was
That's
like,
fast.
he's like, and he was the one who's like, we should do a 2,000 seat venue. And I'm like,
Okay.
no. He's like, but you sold this out. It's like, I know, but it's like, we already have plans to do another theater in San Diego. And it's like, can't oversaturate. I said, look, you're a friend of mine. You could talk to my agent, but I don't want you to have to do that because we already work together, you know?
So yeah, totally. But here's the thing about when you sell that, as we know, like what I'm learning as a venue and what you've told me, like when you sell out, when you're booking shows that far in advance and you sell them out, you are I don't know what it is about this day and age, but you're going to get people. It's like, for us, it's consistent. If we sell a show out 6 months in advance in a 300 seat venue, we get about 60 to 70 people that are not going to show up per show.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah.
it's straight up very consistent.
Yeah.
3 months in advance, it doesn't matter who it is. Three months in advance, it goes down to about half. There's about 30 no shows.
Yeah,
And
what
then
is that
if you
about?
sell out 2 months in advance or 1 month in advance, it gets less and less
Yeah.
into where you almost have no shows. So as a venue, you have to. I'm trying to think like, what can I do? Because it's my job to keep every seat filled for the performer and for the audience to make sure they have the best experience possible. But at the same time, I can't oversell the venue. And
It's tough because it's
what
like,
would happen if they did all show up, even though they never do something?
I'm surprised you
always
guys do
happens.
assigned seating like the way you do.
Maybe
I would like
the
what I would
thing.
have done, to tell you how to run your club.
No,
I'm just
I
saying,
mean,
like,
all advice is
I'm just
good.
like
Yeah.
the seats that are in the pit, those are like the VIP seats, and those
Mm-hmm.
can be assigned, and then all the other ones are just kind of general
Yeah.
GA. You know what I mean? Kind of incentivizes people to get there early as well. I texted my agent. I was like, we got to do something about how to capitalize on these like extra 50 seats that are every show that I do.
Yeah.
They're like, well, I think we're gonna figure it out, because I mean, like,
I've been saying the same thing to my staff. That I use those exact words. I'm like, guys, we're gonna figure this out. You
but
know,
I get it. It's like, what if everybody shows up?
yeah.
you know?
Then you're in a bad situation.
See,
but
maybe what you could do is be like, we'll offer 10 standby tickets for every show. If you get there early enough and you wait in line, we'll offer the 10 tickets, and then the rest of the crowd can stay. Because what if you offer 10 tickets and then 30 people show up?
Mm-hmm.
Then you could be like, well, I'll tell you what. If you stay, just wait for like 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
There is a super high probability that there will be seats empty.
Right.
You know, or put a disclaimer on the tickets that are like, look, if you don't show up, if after 45 minutes you don't show up, we give your ticket away.
we already do that. It's 15 minutes.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So it's like if they don't show, if our show's at 7:15 and people don't show up by 7:30, we technically we might not, we can't guarantee them the seat. We do everything we can to get them in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a solvable problem. I think that it's somehow like, if we could get people's phone numbers and like if they'd agree to text, like just maybe bumping people.
Hey, let me ask you a question about something. I'm curious. How do you guys handle, like, everybody who bought a ticket to my show as a performer? I would love to be like, hey, could you give me all the emails of the people who bought tickets? How do you guys handle that? I know it is a privacy thing also, but like,
Yeah.
if they're all fans of mine, I try to capture emails with that little QR code and that little,
Yeah.
because part of that dirty talking bit is just another way to get their emails on my mailing list.
I think it's about,
You know?
like, we've been talking a lot about this, just in our meetings and stuff, about how, because, people are used to nowadays. I think what a lot of venues are doing is they just take all the emails no matter what. I mean, they might have fine print that says, if you by purchasing this ticket, you agree to be put on the mailing list, you can always unsubscribe or something like that. So I think it is about I think you do like have to communicate like what you're doing. So either the venue gets it or maybe the performer also gets those. And as long as we have it in there that's what we're doing, I think we can do it. I think I'm looking into it right now. It's like you have to check a box when you buy a ticket, and a lot of people don't check the box. So we have, like, I've had performers, and we've been super conservative about this, and I think it has hurt us. It took us a long time to build up to where a lot of other venues moved faster than us in terms of being able to bring people in on their own, just people going, I'm going to come to the Den, because we were really conservative. We'd have, a sold out show or a bunch of sold out shows, and we wouldn't. And then, the next year that comedian might come back and they're like, hey, let's email all those people that came, all those 1,500, 2,000 people that came to that whole weekend of shows. And we're like, oh, we only have 180 of their emails. And they're like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? And I'm like, I'm just trying to protect our ticket buyers too, because I don't know if they want. But I think people do want, like, that's the thing about it. It's like you can be, careful like that. your competitors aren't necessarily going to be that careful, and that and I think people are used to getting a lot of email if you don't abuse it, or even text me. I would, if I was going to, I would love a quick text. Hey, this is the Den. Reminder your show's coming up in a week or two that you bought 7 months ago. Like just something to keep in communication with them. So I'm looking in now. How do I get people to agree to that?
That's what my whole thing right now is trying to get people to. How do we like funnel all of my 4 million followers into a mailing? Right now, I have about 10,000 people on my mailing list.
Yeah.
But that's worldwide.
10,000. Oh my God. You have a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's worldwide. So like, because TikTok or Instagram or any one of these apps can go belly up, and then how do you stay in touch with your crowd? And so that's how I think of it. And then you could offer them tickets ahead of time. Like all my tickets in LA, I'm doing 5 small shows. They're all about 75 seats each. Those exclusively went to my mailing list, and they sold out immediately.
Yeah.
I did not post them on my social media. You know what I mean?
I think hitting people a number of times, like you had that barcode on all 4 screens, right? And but I don't remember, correct me if I'm wrong, if you, you mentioned it.
In the form at the very end, I type, hey, if you want to join the mailing list, put your email here, and we'll pick somebody at random for a free piece of merch.
Yeah.
And then, which I didn't give a piece. I should have done. I didn't do it, but it doesn't really matter.
But no, I think hitting them a number of times. I mean, people want that. If they're your fans, they want that kind of stuff. I think. I'm not great at this.
But also, the email list for me also is to let them know, like when I stream, for example, hey, I'm going to be playing video games this day. I'm going to have this guest on my live stream. We're going to play video games together, and we could hang out. You could AMA. I even did a virtual meet and greet once. I didn't even have a show. I just went on Twitch. I opened up Zoom. And it was just for people on the mailing list. I said, if you want to be on the meet and greet, come through. Awesome. And people did, and you just had a little conference with each.
So it's like a private Zoom kind of thing.
Yeah, but everybody could see it.
Yeah. Oh, everybody else could see it too. Yeah.
So it's kind of fun. You could talk shit and.
Again, more community.
Yeah, it's building that community.
God, man,
Andrew Schultz is a good example of somebody who did that, because he did MSG, but he didn't just like sell tickets to MSG. He made a whole story about performing at MSG. And then people are invested in the story. And then if they go to MSG, they're a part of the story. And they're a part of this dude's lore, as they say,
Right. God, man, I feel like we as a venue are so behind with this kind of thing. Like it's just apparent even from talking to you. I kind of see the wheels turning when we start to talk about it, like how developed that muscle is for you. In the way that you think, in the way that you recognize moments on stage, or... I mean, does it even extend outside of that? Like when you're just everywhere, is it?
Yeah, I mean, I am like an X-Men. On stage, I'm like hypersensitive, because I do have anxiety. I'm like, I was talking to a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine. He's a really successful and talented musician. He also built his career through TikTok and Instagram. And he sells out venues, 1,000, 2,000 seats on his own. And he's not represented by a music label. He does it all on his own. And he and I were kind of discussing like what we do differently. And I think what it comes down to is hospitality, actually. So the way I kind of think of it, like when you come see my show, you're in my home.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure you're comfortable. That's why I get anxious about, does it sound okay? Does the back of the room have the same quality as the front of the room? And sometimes they don't, sometimes they do. Will they have a visceral enough experience? I want everybody to feel like they enjoyed it the same,
Right.
So that's why I run around and go to different parts of the room. And
is that specifically why you were moving around like before the show? So
that's why I walk around the show. I'm like, let me see how it is.
Before when the openers are going, you're kind of like
I'm just kind of
positioning
the vibe.
yourself
I'm just seeing
throughout. How's
scoping
it
the crowd out, and so that's kind of where I'm at. I want to make sure every audience member gets their money worth and they enjoy the show.
Yeah.
If I bought a ticket, I want to make sure that I got, because like I said, I don't know if you were there when I said this on stage. It's like, they're not just buying a ticket. They got a babysitter. They paid for parking.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah,
some people drove 2 hours, 3 hours, and you don't really know what impact you have on these fans, that you might have gotten them out of a dark place. And if you don't do a meet and greet, they could be heavily upset. Like I feel that's why
I love that you have that attitude. I think it's super like.
Dude, on Friday I got a shot in my ass to do a better. Do you know what I'm
that's
saying?
right. Oh my God.
I fucking fainted.
You made it. Oh, we got that call, man.
I don't want to freak you out, but I was like,
no. I mean, my only.
that's how committed I am, dude.
Yeah, like, well, these people. So we had to reschedule originally when people bought this from 7 months ago.
I don't like to. I felt so bad.
No, it happens, and
But it was
especially
funny.
when you're singing. You know, and then the Thursday night, your throat started getting fucked up. So that
it was already
why-
like fatigued before I got here, because I got back from Europe and I just got really sick with some sort of. It wasn't even COVID. It was just like I had chest congestion for a month.
Mm-hmm.
But it was funny when I was like, it's nice. I rescheduled just so I can come back for the better weather. 'Cause
Yeah,
it was like,
yeah, that was funny.
Originally the
Yeah.
show was in fucking January.
I know. You're like,
when
that's the real reason. No.
It was like 10 degrees outside. I was like, oh no.
No, but I just thought it was like, just the chances of that. So you were like, I don't want. It seemed like from our perspective, you were like, I don't want this to happen. The reason I originally had to reschedule this show is because of my throat. So now my throat's getting fucked up from my
it
trip.
could
So
be a
now I'm going to get a
psychosomatic.
steroid shot. So you went out of your way to go get a steroid shot in your
yeah.
ass.
Because
And
I
then that- then
heard
you-
singers actually do that.
I've heard that too,
they're,
right?
Yeah.
What is it? Just like boost, like
It's like boost your muscles or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly. I just know that like singers who are having issues with their voice will do a steroid shot for their throat,
Yeah.
their vocal muscles, and
So then it put you like, how long was it after you left the hospital getting your shot that you
So I got the shot. I fainted like 10 minutes later.
So you were out on Michigan Avenue, right? Like
Right at Sweet Green on Michigan Avenue, and I fucking blinked and I looked up. I could not believe it, bro. I never. You see,
Mossy wasn't with you, right?
No,
You
but
were-
I texted him I was like, "Yo, I'm going to a hospital. This is my location. Come find me."
Yeah.
And he came. He stayed with me. He was great to have because Mossy was just like, "Bro, they know you have good insurance, bro. They're gonna try to give you every fucking test in the hospital." He's like, "You don't need a CT scan, bro, bro." And when he was right, they offered me a CT scan. Even after I said no, somebody came and said, "Hey, we're here to take you to your CT scan." And I was like, "We said no to that." It was crazy. They really were trying to
They were like,
upsell me on like it was some sort of Best Buy car dealership type shit. So
that would have been like probably 15, 20 grand or something.
I mean, I'm sure it's gonna be
the
expensive.
ERs.
I took the ambulance ride, but I do have good insurance, and
Yeah.
I will not pay the bill.
But then you were from your hospital bed like texting us. You were like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
The doctor
I'm
told me
gonna
not to do the
come.
show, by the way.
I know.
The doctor said you'd probably take it.
Yeah, take it easy.
I was like, "Fuck you, doc.
I thought
The
those
people need me."
did you? I thought it made for good shows. Like you let
Yeah, actually,
everybody know.
that was one of my favorite shows. The Friday early show was one of my
the
favorite shows.
early one. Yeah, I thought they were both good.
That just goes to show like working within a limitation, adjusting your show, compensating, finding out what you can do sitting. Like I did most of my jokes sitting, and it still did well, and knowing you could do a show low energy or high energy and kind of vary it up and change it up. So I was
Yeah.
really proud. I think
think
it's 5:40. Okay.
Yeah, we'll wrap up
Yeah,
soon,
yeah.
man.
No
I
problem.
appreciate all your time here.
Of course. Yeah.
But no, it does. It seems like what you can take out of that is like I wouldn't have defined your show as you all your physical energy, which you have a lot of. And
Yeah.
You move throughout the audience, but like you had to take that way back.
Oh,
And it
yeah.
was still like.
I mean,
it was.
Topher, my piano player, said it was one of his favorite shows of the weekend.
Are you serious? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It was.
really
There
showed.
was some. I mean, it was still all the same things. It was just a different, and it wasn't like some comedians, they've got a lower energy, and so their type of comedy has to be.
Yeah, Nate Bargatze is a good example of that.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like so effortless with it. You know?
Right. Right.
I'm
Super
trying to think of
smart.
somebody.
Super
You
sharp.
know who's really funny? Who's like that? Greer Barnes. Have you ever heard of that comic, Greer Barnes? He's really funny too. He's somebody that I watched when I was growing up. I saw him on the Premium Blends he was really live at Gotham.
Yeah.
Type thing. Yeah. So.
So what's the future looking like for you?
Well, look, we're gonna tour for as long as fans will let me, for as long as fans will buy tickets. I literally saw Rory Scovel last week at his show, and he was like, "Your schedule's crazy," and I was like, "Well, yeah, man, I got to sell these tickets while people care." He's like, "Yeah, you do." He's like, "You're right. You have to, because eventually, like, look, everything right now is trending upwards for my career, but you know, realistically, it may not. I mean, it will definitely not always be like that.
Yeah.
You know, so I'll
it's
tour as
smart.
much as I can. We'll release another comedy special, whether it's on streaming or on my own channel or how we release it is. I'm happy to say I have the freedom to decide now, because the bulk of my income now comes from live touring, and then transition to like a live stream type of weekly show where I have guests on, and maybe it's Q&A, and we do, you know, we do a bunch of different stuff. We play video games, we do AMAs, we do meet and greets, we do all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff.
And ride that wave. And man, you
Oh,
are.
and the other side quest I have is I love playing poker now. So I'd love to be a part of the Celebrity Poker Tour, or win a poker tournament.
Nice. Are you good? Are you that level? I mean, that would be
I am
like you'd have to
I
be-
am amateur for sure, but I have read books. I watch it incessantly. It's always on in the background. I did the Daniel Negreanu masterclass, the Phil Ivey masterclass. I am, you know, and I did my first tournament in February, and I did all right. Out of 310, I finished 68th, which for somebody who's their first tournament, I mean, like, I felt pretty happy with that.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's not first, but I'm saying it's like, you know, you're playing against these like sharks, and you know, I basically did the things that the books tell you to do, and if you do things by the books, you know, there is like an element of gambling. At some point, you got to take a risk, but you know, so I think it's a really cool game. The only issue with poker is that it is physically a dirty germ bacteria pit hole of a game. Because if you go to a casino, you have, you know, people with their dirty, grubby fingers
Sure,
coming
you're
from
all
the coming from the
sharing
buffet,
chips and yeah.
playing with the cards and the chips. So it's like, I noticed that every time I went to the casino, I would get sick.
Really?
Yeah. So
Just
I was
bring
like,
your
fuck.
little, you know.
Honestly, I might have to, but then I'm gonna, you know. But yeah, poker's dope. So I actually filmed a poker comedy show, and we're in post production for that, with like 6 comics around a table.
Nice. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm sure you're tying it in somehow
Yeah.
to all the other things on social media that you're doing and building the whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I mean, truly, I think you're super creative guy.
Wait, can we also do a little shout out to Julia real quick, because Julia,
Oh yeah,
I was her first booking here, wasn't I?
you were one. Yeah, I think so.
She
Yeah.
was like, when she
Yeah.
got a chance to book, she was like, we should get Morgan J. I think she said
I know
that at
she
the
said
club.
it early on. Honestly, there's so many that I can't remember, but,
shout out
I'm
to her.
pretty sure that
I feel bad. I texted her. I was
No.
like, do you have mushrooms?
she was supposed to be here today, but
That's okay.
she loves you, dude.
Oh,
Like,
she's great.
no, she was really pushing you early on, and
Yeah, I appreciate
she's
it.
been a godsend for us.
Oh,
like,
yeah?
just unbelievable workhorse. Like, keeps me on task. You know,
Yeah,
hey, we gotta get on these
Bulgaria, huh?
things.
The Bulgarians, right? She's Bulgarian.
Yeah, she's Bulgarian, but I mean, her work ethic is insane. Like,
Yeah.
there's no time where she's like, I mean, you know, as an employer, you want to respect people's time, of course, you know.
And but you also want them to be as passionate as you are about the thing,
Exactly.
which I'm learning, because I have 2 employees now,
yeah,
and I'm like, how do I get them to? But luckily,
you
yeah.
find a Julia. is
I
what
did,
you-
I did, I did, I
you
did find a
two-
Julia. I did find
yeah.
2 of them. They're awesome.
And they believe in what you're doing, and and you know, I believe everything is like an investment. You know, everyone has to take a risk. If you work anywhere, you're taking a risk of your time and your energy and your passion. But you should align yourself with things, or get yourself quickly to something that you're willing to risk that. Don't risk your time and your passion and your energy on things that otherwise you'll just end up miserable, you know.
No, 100%.
But yeah, so I was saying, man, I was just saying, I hope you continue with this, and I don't think, like, you are providing something very unique with a live experience that's fun, and I think for all ages. I mean, we didn't even talk about your sexual leanings, like in your shows, like, which we can another time, but like.
Yeah, but we have young adults come. I think the youngest audience member I ever had was like 15.
Yeah, so my daughter's 15, right? And she's like, most of the people that we have here, it's crazy. She's like Even John Mulaney was like,
Oh yeah,
I'm
I
like,
loved his last special. Did you watch his last special?
no, she doesn't even know him. Is what I'm
that's
saying.
funny.
But she knows you.
Wow,
So it's like
that's funny.
so what you're saying, your younger audience for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But what I'm saying is, watching your show, I think your show is for older. I think older people
It's for all of them too. Yeah.
fucking love your show. They feel included. I think everybody could, and even it doesn't matter that you're talking dirty. You're not alienating anybody.
That's the whole thing, man. That's all. That's all. I'm glad you said that. That's the whole thing. I'm not edgy. I'm not provocative. I want somebody to come to my show after working 80 hours that week and have a good time, man. It's like,
in this world where we're all like dividing each other stupidly by we should be high fiving each other and fucking talking dirty to each other.
I'm trying to get people horny. Go home and have sex with each other. Dude, life's too short.
Totally. Totally.
So anyway, I mean,
we can end with that. Go home and have sex with each other.
Go home and have sex with each other. Life's too short. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Have some fun.